I'll give you a yellow when you're like halfway through, and you know, I am a keeper, I'm not a Nazi, so I'm kind of fair, so if you get, I'll let you, if you get the red, just kind of wrap up your thoughts, okay?
Got it.
Kirsten has been a blessing to us. She's helped me with a lot of the questions for the candidates. She's a timekeeper and she's a great sounding board. But I do want to thank each and every one of you for being here, because we're all here for the same reason. We support our president. We want to elect like-minded individuals. Ms. Arnett here, who's running for a school board, that could be a stepping stone. One day she may run for a higher office, Senate, whatever the case may be. So we want to make sure we're putting the right individuals, voting for the right individuals for office. And that's one of the reasons that we're all gathered here today. Kirsten, you all right?
I'm good.
Okay, doke. Why don't we start off, as Kirsten said, give us a little information about yourself, please.
Great. It's great to be here. Good morning. I am Shelia Arnett, and I am running for School Board District 5. I'm married to former County Commissioner Earl Arnett. We have 3 children and 4 grandchildren, and have lived and worked in Marion County for over 35 years. I've been a hospice-specific healthcare recruiter since 2000. Healthcare clients hire my firm from all over the country to help them fill key management positions. We do market research in their area, identify their competition, and at times contract with these healthcare agencies to identify weaknesses in their organizations and help train their staff on ways to grow their business. I'm currently on the board of the Marion County Homeless Council and a participant in the PPI study on homelessness in Marion County. I'm a former board member of the Marion County Literacy Council. After spending years with my husband working on city and county issues, I've come to realize we both have a passion for serving our community. So I decided, after much prayer and consideration, to run for school board. I felt I had just the right fit to help and complement our school board. After working many years in business, I can see a need to unify the board in a direction that's more productive and civil to each other. As I tell the healthcare clients that hire my firm as a consultant, unity and stability are very important. This is doubly true for our school board. A corporation and the school board must be moving forward in the same direction to succeed. Our children are our most precious asset, and their education is of paramount importance. As a mom and a grandmother, I realize there's a need for stronger discipline policies in our schools. In light of the recent school shootings, and unfortunately yesterday here, we are hearing way too much how the shooter was a discipline problem or bullied by other children who were not well disciplined by either their parents or teachers. I believe that teachers should come to school and be able to teach kids who are there ready to learn. A child who is a constant disruption at any age is not fair to the other students or the teacher. That child makes it difficult for the teacher to teach and the other children to learn. So why are we allowing them the privilege of being in our schools? We should be able to expel them and have their parents be accountable for paying and providing them the education they are taking for granted. I know that many of you have already paid to raise and educate your children, and now we ask you with your tax dollars to help raise and educate other children. I promise to be a watchdog over our tax dollars and make sure the school board budget, which is the largest government budget in Marion County, stays under tight scrutiny, and make sure that every dollar is spent wisely and out of necessity. I look forward to hearing any of your thoughts or concerns, and I look forward to serving on our school board. I'm Shelia Arnett, and I ask for your vote on August 28th.
Thank you. And if I didn't say it earlier, time allowed after the meeting also, that's a good time to mingle with the candidates if you want. If you had a question that you want to ask that wasn't addressed here, that's a good time to ask them those questions. So if that's okay with you,
Absolutely.
If you'll stay till the end of the meeting,
Absolutely.
I'd appreciate that. Sheila, please name 3 things you'd cut from the school board's budget.
Need to look at, 72% of the school board budget is our teachers and our salaries. And so it's going to be difficult not having looked at their budget to determine specific things that I would cut from their budget. I would look at, the evergreen Saturday tutoring program. They're spending about $3,000 a week on that tutoring program, and there's between 10 and 12 children there. I would think that that would be a way that we would have to look at another way to educate them. If they stayed after school for 30 minutes, that would be one way. Looking at administration. they, as in any government agency, administration salaries can be too large a portion of that budget. Teachers are our front line. Teachers are educating the kids. Administration, they're administrators. And so I don't know why they're making there's such a disparity between what teachers are making. Average teacher comes in first year at about $42,000. It depends, perhaps a little more if they've got a master's. And you've got administrators that are coming in 75, 80, 90, 100,000. And so that would be another thing I would look at. When I've been out on the campaign trail, some of the teachers, that is one of the big things that they talk about, is the disparity between not only the pay in administration versus teachers, but also that they're continuing to want to add more administration staff. Some of the free programs that we're giving, I know there are some schools that I've been looking at their numbers, 100% of those kids are getting free lunches. And so while that's necessary and needed, maybe some community support, getting some community partners in there to help defer some of those costs, but that's a huge chunk out of the school budget as well.
Thank you. Sheila, what involvement do you see with the school board and charter schools?
I think there are charter schools, PACE School for Girls. There are some charter schools that they serve a need. Some of our young men that attend my church, Earl and I have been members of Central Christian Church Earl's been there since 1981, I've been there since 91, so we've been there a long time. And some of these young men, they want to go into the service, and so that charter school, Marion, Francis Marion, or now Marion Military, that was a good choice for them. We do not need every school to be a charter school. That is, we are in public education, and so I think they have the place. Magnet schools have a good place as well, and so I am for not adding more charter schools, but supporting the ones that we have.
Thank you. Sheila, what do you see as your role with the superintendent of schools, and do you favor elected or an appointed position?
Elected. I don't think we should ever give up our chance to elect a person of that standing. As a healthcare recruiter, I don't think that people realize the salary range it would take to hire. That salary range would probably be close to $200,000 to bring someone here, but always elected. Our role in the school board is to support the superintendent, and the current climate at the school board is not one of civility at all. I was at a workshop Thursday, and how can we tell our children they can't bully one another when the school board is bullying the superintendent? So we need to have the school board needs to have a better working relationship with the superintendent.
Thank you. Sheila, do you believe, regarding education, and students, do you believe in corporal punishment, and in what fashion?
I tell a story. My daughter, Jacqueline, is now 34, and she was going to Fort King Middle School, and she was hanging with the detention kids. She wasn't in detention, she was with the detention kids. Teacher called me, and I said, "Is she there now?" And they said yes, and I said, "Okay, I'll be right there." Went and, come here, took her to the principal's office, borrowed the principal's paddle, spanked her, told her to go back to the cafeteria and to not do that again. We're losing, the bullying, the lack of the ability, the not being able to discipline our children is part of the big problem that we're having in our schools now. They are allowed to bully one another, they are allowed to bully the teachers, they are allowed to be disruptive, and there's the discipline policies there are not in place to prevent these children from being able to do that.
This will be on the ballot. Do you support the $1 million school property tax?
I do. I think that not every child has the ability or desire to play sports. They don't. And so there needs to be arts, there needs to be music, there needs to be other programs that these kids can participate in. When you participate in those things, then you are spending time and you're staying out of trouble. You are involved. The parents become involved in the school. So yes, I do support that, and I do think it's important.
Regarding the incumbent's voting record, who is currently an incumbent in the
Yes.
seat you're seeking, is there anything you would have voted different, and why?
I've really looked a lot at Evergreen and really thought a lot about the superintendent's idea to make that a magnet school. I think that would have been the proper thing to do. If you look at that Evergreen school district map, it looks like Corinne Brown's, it's gerrymandered. There is the lack of a community school at Evergreen, I think, has increased the problems that are there. I personally felt that it should have become a magnet school, and I would not have voted to bring in the outside consultant. I think they're paying them $350,000 to run that school. And so I would not have agreed to bring that consultant in.
With all the reports over the years of inappropriate behavior regarding teachers and students, do you know if there is a teacher code of conduct? And if so, what, if anything, would you do to change it and put one in place?
The Florida Department of Education, there was a presentation at the workshop Thursday. The Florida Department of Education has a strict guidelines for discipline of teachers that act inappropriately, whether that is physically touching them to subdue them, physically touching them in other inappropriate ways. And so sanctions can be given by the Florida Department of Education to teachers who act inappropriately. Any teacher that puts their hands on a child needs to be disciplined. And so that, to me, is huge. I think that from what I saw on the presentation, our current school board, our Marion County Public School System, is in line with the Florida Department of Education guidelines for that.
Last one. Sheila, regarding your leadership and the current rift between the school board and the superintendent, if you were in office now, how would you work to resolve that?
Saying something in the school board meetings, saying something in the workshops, calling for, Mrs. Jones, please be more civil, or Mrs. Jones, you are not, that is not an appropriate way to talk. There's a lot of crosstalk. If any of you have not watched school board meetings lately, it is a free-for-all. It is painful to watch the back and forth and the crosstalk and so just being a strong force there to say, okay, we need to stop, because there are some school board members that are definitely running amok right now.
I thank you for that, and hopefully it wasn't too painful.
No, not at all.
You've got, is it 2 or 3 minutes?
Three.
3. To tell us something about yourself and why we should all vote for Mrs. Arnett.
Great. Again, Earl and I have lived here for about 35 years, have always been involved in county and city projects. I am currently very involved in the homeless population here. There was a mom, in fact, PG was very sweet. She gave her rides, and a homeless mom and her 2 little boys. We were able to, through the community, get support for her. She's now housed, doing wonderful. Have been on the board of the Marion County Literacy Council. Literacy is paramount. If our children don't know how to read, they are never going to succeed in life. And so getting that early literacy to them is very, very important. Again, I believe teachers should be able to come to school to teach kids that are there to learn, and the bullying and the lack of ability to expel children that are disruptive is one of that's my platform. That education, the discipline so that teachers can educate our children is of paramount importance. Again, I'll stay after if you have any questions or concerns or thoughts. I look forward to talking to you. I look forward to serving on your school board. I'm Shelia Arnett. Thank you.
I'd be remiss if I didn't give you one of these.
Oh.
We normally charge, what, $10 just for the paperwork.
Right.
This